ready now. You ready? Yep. Okay. Standing in line, marking time, waiting for the welfare dime, 'cause they can't buy a job. The man in the silk suit hurries by as he catches the poor old lady's eyes. Just for fun, he says, get a job. That's just the way it is. Some things will never change. That's just the way it is. Ah, but don't you believe them? Said, hey little boy, you can't go where the others go, 'cause you don't look like they do. Said, hey old man, how can you stand to think that way? And did you really think about it before you made the rules? He said, son, that's just the way it is. Some things will never change. That's just the way it is. Ah, but don't you believe them? That's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. Well, they passed a law in '64 to give those who ain't got a little more. But it only goes so far, 'cause the law don't change another's mind when all it sees at the hiring time is the light on the color bar. Oh no, that's just the way it is. Some things will never change. That's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. It is, it is, it is, it is, it is.
Huron, Wendat, Haudenosaunee, and Mississaugas. Indigenous people who have lived here since time immemorial have deep connections with these lands. We honor the diversity and respect the knowledge, leadership, and governance models within the Indigenous communities. This land is covered by the Dish and the One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, which was an agreement between the Haudenosaunee and Anishinaabe to share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes. As settlers, we are grateful for the opportunity to continue to benefit from the land and its gifts, and we must ask ourselves how or if we have shared and cared for the earth and its gifts. Facing the truth is hard, but truth must come before reconciliation. May we always be a welcome guest on this land.
Good morning. It is so good to be with you again today. Welcome to this unique service. You can see that things are a bit different today, as they have been for quite some time now. But today, we have our labyrinth centering our worship experience. We have children with us. We have activities planned throughout our space. And this is a worship that is co-creating our day together. We have been on a journey. We've been on a journey of change and transformation. We have embraced new ways of being, new ways of doing, new ways of connecting, new ways of loving each other, the world, and the earth. Let us welcome this day. Let us reach out our arms if you feel comfortable, or stretch your fingers. Let's feel it. Let's welcome. Let's feel our hands. Perhaps let a smile creep across your face. Let us greet this day and each other. Let us welcome the spirit of life and love into our room today. I am so glad you are here with us. So glad. And I invite you, in the spirit of that gladness, to turn to your neighbor and say, I am so glad you are here today. I am so glad. If you are joining us over Zoom, know that we are reaching towards you, and we know you are reaching towards us, and that the love and care and excitement and gratitude is weaving out into the world, and we are connected. We are celebrating today the close of the first year of interim ministry. And we are welcoming the summer and holding anticipation for the good things to come in the fall. There are good things to come. And I say that as I hold a heaviness in my heart. I hold a heaviness for things happening in our world, things that feel unstoppable. I know in this place good things are yet to come. Join me as we light our chalice this morning with the words on the screen behind me or on your Zoom screen. We light our chalice this morning and we say together, may this flame be our light of friendship and love. I invite us into our first hymn, Morning Has Broken.
Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for their singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the word. Sweet the rain's new fall, sunlit from heaven, like the first dew fall on the first grass. Praise for their sweetness of the wet garden, sprung in completeness where God's feet pass. Mine is the sunlight, mine is the morning, born of the one light Eden saw play. Praise with elation, praise every morning, God's recreation of the new day. Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the
Good morning. Our story for all ages addresses this theme of accepting change, and in particular, the fact that change and accepting change can be very difficult for those who are closest to us. Our story for all ages is called Jack, Not Jackie, by Erica Silverman, illustrated by Holly Hattan. My sister Jackie has the best giggle. When she stares at me with her big round eyes, my heart feels bubbly. "Oh, baby Jackie," I whisper, "when you get bigger, we'll play in my tent, we'll twirl like forest fairies, and we'll be explorers together." Jackie sleeps, Jackie eats, Jackie burps and hiccups. Sometimes Mama lets me hold her. My sister giggles, just for me. Jackie crawls everywhere. I say, "Let's be kitty cats." Meow, meow, meow. "Woof, woof, woof," says Jackie. I love that giggle. Every day we play peekaboo. "Boo, boo, boo," says Jackie. One day she says, "Susu." "Mommy, Daddy," I shout. Jackie said my name. My name is really Susan, but now I like Susu, too. As soon as Jackie can walk, she runs. "Don't fall, Jackie." Good thing she loves her dinosaur Band-Aids. My sister Jackie also loves mud. Mud puddles, mud pies, mud, mud, mud. Ick. Jackie, let's be forest fairies, I say, putting ribbons in her hair. Ew, she pulls them out. Never mind, we can be explorers then. Jackie puts on her cape. She wears that silly cape everywhere. Explorers don't wear capes, I tell her. So what? I can fly, I can buzz, I am Superbug. She jumps off the bed and whooshes away. For Jackie's birthday, Mama buys her a dress, but Jackie throws it on the floor and cries. Daddy says, rubbing his chin. Someone does not like her new dress. That's okay, she can wear whatever feels right, says Mama. Jackie puts on Daddy's hat and his vest. She rubs her chin and says, Just like Daddy, I say, only smaller. Jackie giggles. When we go shopping for clothes, Jackie runs to the boys' section. No, not there, Jackie, I shout. Over here. But Jackie picks out shorts and a shirt and a baseball cap and a tie. No ties, I say, snatching it away from her. Jackie grabs it back. Mine. But ties are for boys. We wear what feels right, says Mama. Remember? But it's wrong, I say. Not wrong, Susu, says Mama. Just different. Jackie wears her new baseball cap to the park. While I swing on the monkey bars, Jackie plays with the boy in the sandbox. Together they push little cars over bumpy roads. Vroom, vroom, vroom. Time to go, calls Daddy. Bye, Roy, says Jackie, waving to her friend. Bye, Jack, calls the boy. Jack, I ask. But your name is... No. Jackie yells, then covers her ears and sticks her tongue out at me. We all walk slowly, Daddy, Jackie, Mama, and me. Nobody says anything all the way home. On haircut day, I go first. Not too much, Mama, I like it swingy. But Jackie says, more. So Mama cuts and cuts. Stop, Mama, stop, I shout. Now Jackie looks like a boy. Jackie says, I am a boy. Mama's quiet. Finally, she says, well, Jackie's been trying to tell us that for a long time. Jackie turns and walks over to me with big round eyes. Please call me Jack. But Jackie, you're my sister. No, Susu, I'm your brother. I don't want a brother, I shout. I want my sister back. And we both start to cry. I hide in my tent. I'm hiccuping and my tummy hurts, but then I remember when Jackie was a tiny hiccuping baby and Mama let me hold her. I pick up some crayons and 2 pieces of paper. I draw a picture of Jackie, and when I'm done, I draw a picture of Jack. Jackie. Oh, there we go. Jackie, Jack. The same big round eyes, my sister, my brother. It's okay, either way. And little by little, my heart starts to feel bubbly again. I open my tent flap and peek out, and I see big round eyes staring back at me. Jack, I whisper, let's be superbugs together. You can wear your cape and your tie. My brother Jack has the best giggle. And that's the end of our story for today.
So because we're not actually singing the children out today, we're going to do a song for all ages, which is a little different, I know, than we are often used to. For those of you who are sitting in the seats and maybe getting a little fidgety, I'm not looking at you, Max, but I kind of am. A little bit of Greg, too. There is some stuff up here. We have a quiz that Vanessa has, and there are prizes for the quiz. You can mostly do it from your own seat. For the young or younger at heart, you can come up. If you want to get a coloring sheet, again, for the young or young at heart, and do some coloring, we have clipboards and coloring sheets up here as well. The song I'm going to sing today for our Song for All Ages, it's pretty easy to follow along, so by the end of the first verse, you might be able to at least hum along a bit to it. It's called Watch the Stars. That might or might not be a question on the quiz. So the first verse is watch the stars, then watch the moon, then watch the wind, and then it comes back to watch the stars. Watch the stars, see how they run. Watch the stars, see how they run. You know the stars run down at the setting of the sun. Watch the stars, see how they run. Watch the moon, see how it glows. Watch the moon, see how it glows. No, the moon, it glows at the setting of the sun. Watch the moon, see how it glows. Watch the wind, see how it blows. Watch the wind, see how it blows. Oh, the wind, it blows at the setting of the sun. Watch the wind, see how it blows. Watch the stars, see how they run. Watch the stars, see how they run. You know the stars run down at the setting of the sun. Watch the stars, see how they run. Watch the stars, see how they run. And
Good morning. It's such a pleasure to get up here and speak with you because I can take off my mask. Lucky me. Just a year ago, August, I was standing in the foyer of the church with a small group of people, waiting to meet our new interim minister, Reverend Jamie Boyce. I was, first of all, full of joy that she finally made it across the border, where she had been held back for 3 days. And I was anxious to meet, face to face, the person whom I had read about through her extensive application process, watched giving sermons on videos, interviewed through Zoom, talked about with her references, and finally made a decision with my fellow interim task force members, Dale Shipley, Mary Solig, and Gail Rappold, that Reverend Boyce was who we wanted. A year previous to this in-person greeting of Reverend Jamie, the interim task force had been given the job of finding an interim who, in general terms, could hold up a mirror to our congregation in the present so that we could collectively envision and make informed decisions about our congregation of the future. This time for authentic self-reflection is the gift that the interim period provides for us as a congregation. And it is so important that we continue to take advantage of this time, joining with our younger and newer members, as well as our wise elderly, so everyone is heard. So what was it about Reverend Boyce that made her the first choice of the interim task force? Look around today and you might get a clue, right? We've had some fun and exciting different types of services since Reverend Boyce has arrived. But I'll name a few. Jamie was born in Lansing, Michigan, a General Motors auto factory town in central Michigan. Her mother was an activist in women's movement, and Jamie has happy memories of playing with kids of activists in church basements while their mums attended meetings. She says, and I quote, that she was formed in the palm of Michigan lakes, factories, working poor, and progressive possibilities. As a young adult, and I learned this morning that she was 21, she lived in Istanbul, Turkey for 7 years, where, and again I quote, the religions, histories,
and mythologies of the ancient Near East formed a foundational education for my growing sense of myself as a spiritual person. Jamie began regular attendance at Unity Temple Unitarian Universalist congregation after returning to the United States. At Unity Temple, she found a spiritual home and faith community that affirmed her journey, her struggle, her suffering, and her hope. She has successfully served congregations in the midst of change at Morristown Unitarian Fellowship and Community Church of New York as a ministerial intern, and moved into deeper pastoral care practice during the pandemic as a hospital chaplain. When she was asked on her interim application why she was seeking ministry now, she replied, and this would be talking about the year to 2021. This past year, I have leaned into pastoral care practice during the pandemic. I followed a call to provide care and presence during this difficult time in our world. I have witnessed in the lives of those I've served in the hospital deep uncertainty, grief, and hope in a sea of loss. And I have witnessed the remarkable cultural transformations and possibilities we have embraced this year as we have adapted, pivoted, and courageously embraced new ways of nurturing love and relationship. I am ready to support a congregation in navigating the world in the wake of COVID-19 and the rise of social movements that are pulling forth the beloved community in our midst. I hold tenderness and reverence for the work ahead. We have already been witnessing what Jamie's education, rich life influence and work experiences have brought to our congregation. She sees us as a place of possibility. And that leaves me, and I'm sure many of you, with hope for the future of our congregation. Thanks.
We have indeed been on a journey together this year. You have embraced interim ministry wholeheartedly. It's been a journey that has wound around griefs, loss, love and discovery, isolation, connection, fear, and hope. As we join together for a time of quiet reflection today, I invite us to imagine the journey we've been on, the journey we've held in our own hearts, we've been on in our own hearts, the journey we have been on together, and the journey we have been on in our world. There are so many things you have said yes to. Yes, in the midst of uncertainty. Yes, in the midst of fear. Yes, in the midst of loss. Yes, in the midst of brokenness. There has been a yes. I invite us all into a time of quiet. Perhaps find your feet on the floor and nestle comfortably into your seat. Place your hands someplace comfortable. Sometimes I like to feel my hand on my heart. And let's take a breath together. Let us notice that we have welcomed life as it has arrived. Let us know that we have welcomed this season of change and said yes. Let us whisper a yes into this space and notice the things we are saying yes to in our lives, the things we are saying yes to in our world, and the things we are saying yes to for this congregation. Yes. This yes that we whisper into the world is a yes born in the love that knows no bounds, a yes that is a balm for hurting hearts, a yes that can welcome our joys and our sorrows, a yes that reminds us that we are never alone on this journey and that we are surrounded and held by a sea of people who are also saying yes. Let us pause in silence and be soothed by the quiet. I invite you, as you feel called during the music and throughout our service, to walk our labyrinth, to go on a journey, to circle around, to turn through the path ahead and notice something saying yes to you, a call in your heart, to notice places where there are invitations to say no that can empower deeper commitments to self and community. We have also available printed copies of the Labyrinth. Would someone raise that up? They're available, we can hand them out, but you can follow with your hand and follow the journey with your hand. If you're joining us at home, we placed a link in the chat so you can pull up a Labyrinth and join us from home and follow the journey of yeses, the journey of discovery, the journey into what might be next.
Holding back the years, thinking of the fear I've had so long. When somebody hears, listen to the fear that's gone. Strangled by the wishes of Peter, hoping for the arms of Mater. Get me to the sooner or later. I'll keep holding on. I'll keep holding on. Holding back the years, chance for me to escape from all I've known. Holding back the tears, 'cause nothing here is grown. I've wasted all my tears wasted all those years. Nothing had the chance to be good. Nothing ever could, yeah. I'll keep holding on. I'll keep holding on. I'll keep holding on. I'll keep holding on. So tight. Well, I've wasted all my tears, wasted all of those years, and nothing had the chance to be good, 'cause nothing ever could, oh yeah, oh. I'll keep holding on. I'll keep holding on. I'll keep holding on. I'll keep holding on. Holding, holding, holding on. La, 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 la. I said, who? It's all I have today. It's all I have to say. I'll keep holding on. I'll keep holding on. I'll keep holding on. I'll keep holding on. Holding, holding, holding on. La, 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 la. You can go to your seats. The labyrinth is done. We can get to the next reflection on our interminister. Yeah, 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 yeah. Jamie, it's about her. You can go to your seats. Thank you for participating. That's all I have to say.
In August, Reverend Jamie Boyce will have been with our congregation for 1 year. That's a milestone worth celebrating for Jamie and for us. For Jamie, it's taken much hard work, learning, adaptation, and appreciation. In that year, she worked getting to know us, our history, our strengths, our needs, our weaknesses, and then she acted to use her own strengths to serve in ministry with us. I say with us because ministry is not a top-down job. It's a cooperative endeavor when it's working well. We each serve in ministry to one another, to our church community, and to the wider community as we carry our values out from this building into our daily lives. That ministry can take many forms. Each of us acts in ministry to one another and to the community in both our presence and our actions. So how have we done in learning, growing, and acting in ministry? We've overcome difficulties over the last 2 years that we could never have imagined surviving. We've all had losses, but we've grown stronger in so many ways. Some of those losses have been intense and personal. Some came from our participation in the pervasive losses of our community, our nation, and our world. Some of these losses will not be fully revealed to us for some time, and yet we have persevered, and our interim ministry and our interim minister have supported us as we persevered. However, mere perseverance is not enough. The interim ministry period is designed to first deal with the loss of our longtime minister, then move on to evaluate who we are, what are our strengths and weaknesses, where do we want to go as a congregation. Just as it's recommended not to rush into a new romantic relationship after a breakup, that too, both things. So, there's a slip. So too, in the relationship between congregation and minister, just as those rebound romantic relationships rarely work well, a rebound rush to find a new minister is also likely to go badly. We're lucky that our relationship with Reverend Victoria ended happily, even if tinged with sadness. We wished her well in her retirement, and we look back on our years together with satisfaction overall. And we did this without the ability to gather in person. Even if, as it was as happy an ending as possible, we've still lost the presence of a person who meant so much to us. This interim period with Reverend Jamie has begun well. We've welcomed her, been well served by her, and been challenged by her. She spent time exploring our history and our current state, even as she also worked at all the ongoing tasks of keeping a religious congregation alive and well. And none of those usual ministerial tasks have been easy during these pandemic times. We've had some new developments, hybrid services, an extension of our social justice endeavors, the chalice groups, the walk and talk times, family time. So what's next? We're lucky we have 2 more years of interim minister with Reverend Jamie. We'll use that time to deal with an ongoing examination of our structures, our ways of being together, and how well our actions fit our mission, and more. We'll be growing into new social justice endeavors, examining climate change, economic inequality, and we'll be choosing a search committee for the important task of finding and attracting our next settled minister. There's a lot of work to be done, and it's work for all of us, not just for the board or for Jamie. There will be opportunities for each of us to join in exploring the essential questions of who we are, where we're going, and how we're going to get there. I urge each of us to become involved at every opportunity, to have our voices heard, our needs and hopes expressed, our skills, feelings, and wishes for this religious community become part of our plan for the future and our strength in the present. Let's work at this cooperative task of interim ministry so that we can grow in our mission to nurture one another, serve the community, and inspire action that heals the world. Thank you.
I'm going to start my time, the short few minutes I have to talk with you this morning, with a bit of show and tell. And even before that, I want to thank all the folks who made this service possible this morning. So thank you to our tech team. Thank you so much. They're behind the scenes, but without you, we are nothing. Thank you, Marilyn Hunt, our service leader, Catherine Schuler, our speaker, Joanne Deere, who are on the transition team. Thank you to our music ministers today. DJ Moons, thank you. We put you on the spot and you were there. Thank you. Beverly Horton, Marianne Terpstra, and Lila, thank you, thank you, thank you. Ashley Daniels, thank you for the story today. Thank you. So show and tell. As you know, this was a difficult week in the United States. The United States Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade on Friday. And as Joanne mentioned, I grew up in the women's movement in church basements. My mom was an activist in the women's movement. And as the news dropped on Thursday about the overturning of Roe v. Wade, which we knew was going to happen, it pushed me to a new place of grief. And I held on to these objects. My first appearance in Washington, D.C., the March for Women's Lives to affirm safe and legal access to reproductive health. This is the sash from 1986 when I was 16 years old. That's when with my mom, we took it felt like it was a 400-hour bus ride, but really it was a 12-hour bus ride from Lansing, Michigan to D.C. That was 1986. That wasn't enough. I went back in 1989 for the March for Women's Equality and Women's Lives, and this is the sash from that time. I was 19 at that time and worried and concerned about bodily autonomy and reproductive justice, something my mother and my grandmother did not have, my ancestors did not have. And you can see on my sashes that over the years I have added bits and pieces, my Black Lives Matter button, the button that says, "The hand that rocks the cradle should rock the boat." You can see this goes back, and I'm feeling my age, but I held on to these. In 2004, I wasn't in the States, but my mom sent me the March for Women's Lives from 2004, sent me the button, so I was there in spirit. And then, because it's not over, after 36 years, it seemed like it was time to get the shirt. And this was 2017, and we know what that was about. So I have held these artifacts which have traveled with me all these years to all these places, bundled up, sacred remnants of my commitments to the world, my commitments to life, my commitments to people. And it hurts, and I know it hurts for many of us here. I know we feel the ripple effect. We know that the threat to freedom is alive here in Canada. We are being called to new ways of being in the world as we confront the threats to justice in our midst, as we confront the violence flashing through the world, violence that has been present, violence that feels relentless. We are being called to new ways of being in the world. Our faith affirms access to safe and legal reproductive care, including abortion. We affirm and celebrate bodily autonomy for all people. We are called as a faith to protect these rights. This week, the Unitarian Universalist Association and the Canadian Unitarian Council have issued public statements denouncing the Supreme Court decision and affirming access to safe and legal abortion. There is a global uprising against this decision. And we must continue to be vigilant to the forces that threaten us here, to the ways in which tyranny is taking root right here, right now. Our faith is calling us forward into the world in new ways, calling us to form new partnerships in our communities, to collaborate more robustly, to put our faith into action in the world and allow the liberative love we claim for people in the earth to be fully realized. During this 1 year of interim ministry, I have witnessed your strength, your commitment. I've witnessed you say yes to new ways of being in the world. And I admire you deeply for that. You have said yes to shared ministry. You have said yes to new social justice initiatives. You have said yes to returning to this sacred space in the midst of a pandemic. I admire you greatly. And as I gaze out upon the labyrinth, I realize that one of the things we don't talk much about when we talk about a labyrinth journey is just how tricky those turns can be. We found that out even just today. The turns matter. You have to slow down, recalibrate, look around, notice what's going on, check out who is beside you. The turns are tricky. And somehow I think the turns are what matters the most. They take us towards the center. Another thing I observe when I look at this beautiful labyrinth is that we often think of the labyrinth as an individual journey, a journey of the spirit, a journey of the mind, a journey of the heart that is in and amongst just ourselves. I don't think that's true. I think the journey is deeply relational, that the journey is often us holding hands with those who love us. It is the invocation of our ancestors into time and space, holding us and keeping us. This journey is never alone, even if at times it can feel that way. It was beautiful to see you clustered on the labyrinth and to notice that this is the journey. We are doing this together. This year, we have taken up big questions to move us closer to the center of connection, closer to the center of becoming our eighth principle, closer to the center of our grief, closer to the center of living our mission in the world. There have been twists and turns, pains and gains. And here we are, gathered and saying yes to the transformative possibilities of our faith. Do you feel that as much as I do? Our faith holds a promise, not just for the First Unitarian Church of Hamilton, but for the world. And we are so lucky to do this together. When we opened service this morning and I invited you to turn to a neighbor and say, "I'm so glad you're here," I heard the surge of gladness come forward. I felt the love, and I know this place is special because we are glad that we are here. We are glad that you are here, and gladness is a spiritual practice. Next year, the transition team will continue to lead small group listening circles. As we did this year, we will invite the congregation into the practices and processes of reflecting through the interim period. We'll ask about your hopes and dreams, hear your concerns, and be present to your great ideas that shape this place. There are so many good things happening. It is a time to celebrate, even as our hearts break. This summer is a time for rest, but make no mistake, rest is not passive. It is a time of renewal, of dreams being formed, of playfulness, of family, friends, of touching the quiet, finding joy, and rediscovering our inner worlds. And for many of us, it's also reconnecting with the natural world. Rest is essential to our beings, individual and collective. If we are to be ready for the work ahead, we need to rest. Let us give each other permission for radical resting this summer. Radical resting. I will be away from my congregational responsibilities in July. From July 16th to the 30th, I will be traveling, and Reverend Stephen Atkinson will be available for emergency pastoral care. Our weekly ACE will have all the information you need. And of course, you can call our office or reach out to Barb, our board president. We have so much to look forward to. Our community is flourishing and thriving. Thank you for saying yes to this interim ministry with such openness and curiosity. Thank you for caring for each other and the wider world. Thank you for saying yes to beloved community and being a beacon of love and justice in our world. May it be so, and blessed be.
Be ours a religion which like sunshine goes everywhere. Its temple, all space, its shrine, the good heart, its creed, all truth, its ritual works of love. Be ours a religion which like sunshine goes everywhere.
its temple of space, its shrines the good heart, its creed all truth, its ritual works of love.
I leave you with these words today as our benediction that we have shared throughout this year in our small groups as we have discussed interim ministry. Beloveds, go into the world as beacons of love and hope. If you are proud of this congregation, become its advocate. If you are concerned with its future, share its message. If its values resonate deep within you, give it a measure of your devotion. This congregation cannot survive without your faith, your confidence, and your enthusiasm. Its destiny, the larger hope, rests in your hands. Go in peace.
I'd gladly walk across the desert with no shoes upon my feet to share with you the last bite of bread I had to eat. I would swim out to save you in your sea of broken dreams. When all your hopes are sinking, let me show you what love means. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? I would whisper love so loudly every heart could understand that love and only love can join the tribes of man. I would give my heart's desire so that you might see. The first step is to realize that it all begins with you and me. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? When we stand together, it's our finest hour. We can do anything, 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 anything. Keep believing in the power. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? Join us in the chorus, folks. Love can you think it's time? One more time. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time?